Clean Air Act, also known as Republic Act No. 8749, is a comprehensive air quality management policy and program that strives to attain and maintain healthy air for all Filipinos. This information was taken from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources.
The authorities and responsibilities of the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, or the EPA, derive primarily from a dozen major environmental statuses. This report provides a concise summary of one of those statuses, which is the Clean Air Act. It provides a very brief history of federal involvement in air quality regulation and of those provisions added by legislation in 1970, 1977, and 1990. It explains major authorities contained in the Act. It defines key terms, and it lists references for more detailed information on the Act and its implementation. While this report attempts to present the essence of the Act, it is necessarily incomplete. Many details and secondary provisions are omitted. In addition, the report describes that the statute largely without discussing its implementation. Statutory deadlines is to control emissions and achieve particular mandates that have been often missed as a result of delayed standard setting by EPA. Delayed action on implementation by states and local governments, or lawsuits brought by the interested parties. Other CRS products, including CRS Report R45451, Clean Air Act issues in the 116th Congress, and more than a dozen other CRS reports discuss implementation concerns and current issues. According to the Department of Health, or DOH, the Philippine Clean Air Act, or Republic Act No. 8749, is a comprehensive air quality management policy and program aimed at accomplishing and keeping a healthy air for all Filipinos. The primary purpose of this mandated law outlines that the country's government is to reduce air pollution and incorporate environmental protection into its development plans. This law covers all potential sources of all air pollution, mobile, point, and area sources, must be abide by the law's provisions, and all emissions must be in compliance with air quality standards. Vehicles such as cars, trucks, buses, jeepneys, tricycles, motorcycles, and vans are examples of mobile sources. Stationary sources, such as industrial firms, and the smokestack of power plants, hotels, and other establishments. These are referred to as point sources. Lastly, area sources are emissions found everywhere we go. These include smoking, garbage burning, dust from construction, unpaved grounds, and so on. Related issues, problems, and concerns, social, environmental, and others. It emphasizes on the interaction and dynamics of human population and the ecosystem. Air pollution is one of the biggest health emergencies in the Asia-Pacific region, with the Philippines recording 45.3 air pollution-related deaths for every 100,000 people, the third highest in the world, according to a 2018 study by the World Health Organization. There is no credible evidences that the Clean Air Act will hinder economic growth. Dramatically, reducing carbon will require big changes. For example, we must stop burning coal for energy, while a transition to a clean energy future will overall create far more jobs than are lost. There is no denying that jobs will be lost in the coal sector. According to the EPA, when we are exposed to high levels of hazardous air pollutants for an extended period of time, we are more likely to suffer from serious health effects such as respiratory diseases, neurological disorders, decreased fertility, immune system damage, and an increased risk of cancer. Efforts and activities done in relation to the implementation of the law. The Act requires that when new industrial facilities are designed and built, good pollution control must be a part of the design. This means that as new cleaner facilities are built, the country's industrial base becomes much cleaner overall. Public health is protected as economic growth proceeds. Power plants have to cut emissions that cause acid rain and harm public health. Reducing acid rain has significantly reduced damage to water quality in lakes and streams and improved the health of ecosystem and forest. Further reductions in power plant pollution have been achieved by state and EPA efforts to cut interstate air pollution, achieving additional public health benefits and helping downwind states meet health-based air quality standards for fine particles and ozone. According to the Union of Concerned Scientists, pollution levels have been drastically reduced since the Clean Air Act was implemented over 40 years ago, sparing the untimely lives of 400,000 individuals as well as hundreds of millions of people from getting diseases associated to air pollution.
Specific examples of issues in the respective efforts or activities done in the Philippines or internationally. For clean air, our priority activities are the following: monitoring of the compliance of firms and industries. Second, operationalization of air governing boards and calibration and maintenance of air quality monitoring stations. The program covers the full implementation of Clean Air Act. The objective of the Clean Air Program is to come up with a comprehensive national program to achieve and maintain air quality that meets the national air quality guidelines for criteria pollutants throughout the Philippines, while minimizing the possible associated negative impacts on the country's economy. Thus, in order to effectively monitor and regulate all sources of air emissions, the Clean Air Program is divided into three sub-programs: Motor Vehicle Emission Management Program, Industrial Emission Management Program, and Roadside Ambient and General Ambient Air Monitoring. This is to effectively manage the three sources of air emission, namely mobile, stationary, and area sources. It mandates the various government agencies to do the following in support of the Act. Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, act as overall of the lead agency, prepare a national air quality status report which shall be used as a basis in formulating the integrated air quality improvement framework, issue rules and regulations in the implementation of the Act. The Department of Transportation and Communication, or DOTC, in coordination with the DENR in case of industrial discharges and the DOTC in case of motor vehicles, shall based on environmental techniques, design, impose on and collect regular emission fees from all said discharges as part of the emission permitting system or vehicle registration renewal system. As the case may be, implement the emission standards for motor vehicles. The Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, with the DENR, other agencies, private sector, the academe, non-government organizations and people organization shall establish a national research development program for the prevention and control of air pollution. This report summarizes the Clean Air Act and its major regulatory requirements. The principal statute addressing the air quality concerns, the Clean Air Act was first enacted in 1955, with major revisions in 1970, 1977, and 1990. The Act sets deadlines for the achievement of those standards by state and local governments, mandates emission controls for sources of 187 hazardous air pollutants, establishes a cap and trade program to limit acid rain, requires the prevention of significant deterioration of air quality in areas with clean air, requires a program to restore visibility impaired by regional haze in national parks and wilderness areas, and implements the Montreal Protocol to phase out most ozone-depleting chemicals. Focus primarily on pollution prevention rather than on control, and provide for a comprehensive management program on air pollution. Promote public information and education to encourage the participation of an informed and active public in air quality planning and monitoring. Formulate and enforce a system of accountability for short and long-term adverse environmental impact of a project, program, or activity. This report describes the Act's major provisions and provide tables listing all major amendments with the year of enactment and public law number, and cross-referencing sections of the Act with the major U.S. Code sections of the codified statute.